Welcome to How to Win at Chess, episode number 3. In this video, I play against people who are about 1400 up to 1800. It's a very, very intense video, and it only features 5 games, all of which went very long, so you all will have something to learn depending on the opening, middle game, or what have you. And before we jump into the games, I just want to say Merry Christmas, because I believe this video will be coming out on December 25th. For some of you, it will be the 26th, but for me, it will be Christmas, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hope you're all doing well. Chess is hard. Chess is very hard at this level. It's no joke. You need to combine really good opening knowledge. Let's play the Dutch defense. So against d4, I'll give you guys the Dutch defense with f5. Of course, it is inherently weakening. But, yeah, I like that he's thinking already. Knight f6. And now I have to make a decision which Dutch I'm going to play. I'm going to play the Leningrad Dutch with g6 and bishop g7 and then castle. This is named after the great city of Leningrad. So he's playing a very non-confrontational, Dutch. So I'm going to play e6. And I do this because in these positions I have a hole here. Right, because both my pawns are not really my bishop covers, but white likes to play d5 and c4, maybe put the knight here, which is something that you have to deal with when you play the Leningrad. So I'm going to play this preemptive move. So now if a pawn ever gets to d5, I can push it to the center. Big struggle in the Leningrad is for the e4 square. This square. You could play knight c6, queen e7. You can also drop the knight in immediately to the center, like this. So, like I said, this is where the game is won and lost. Now d5 is impossible because of the pin. Now knight c6. And then sometimes you even play d5 yourself, so this is supported. Of course, your bishop is a problem, but when things open up, your bishop gets involved in the game. The Dutch is hard. It's a hard opening, especially if you play against somebody who's very solid and doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So Dutch defense does take a lot of time to kind of, but it's good. I mean, at this level, 1500, you know, you put a lot of hours into the game, so you know what's up. Signups do begin at 10:30. They do begin at 10:30 Eastern. Yes, talking about sub battles. You guys should come play. Let's go queen e7, just a casual waiting move, defends my bishop, maybe bishop here, and then maybe rook here. I like queen e7, it's just a very solid, flexible move. My opponent played rook b1 in order to defend the bishop, but still this bishop is not really something that you want to trade, I don't think. Not to mention that d5 is not really like the scariest thing, you know, at the end of the day, my move defended my bishop as well, so now if my opponent takes my bishop, I don't have to take with the king, which is what I would have had to do before. Now I have to take with the queen. And also thank you to everybody who's running this hype train. Again, kind of a slow move. Understandable. Maybe wants to play b4. First instinct is to play a5, shutting that down completely. Then you got to ask yourself, is that even a problem? Now I want to go e5. But I don't like the fact that when this trade happens, I end up with doubled pawns. So again, I might just consider moving my bishop and then bringing my rook. Just finishing my development, getting all my pieces together and ready to fight. Okay, still solidity from my opponent. So again, both of us are playing very solid, but the thing is, development has to occur in a logical way, right? You can't, at a lower level, you just say, I'm developing my pieces and it's like a good thing. But here, notice what has happened with the development of the pieces. My opponent traded the knight attacking this, right? So he has to move his knight back to attack my pawn. I play this d5 thing. So what's the case? Now this bishop is biting into pawns. The knight has no forward moves. The bishop is stuck behind his pawn. I'm also a bit stuck, but at least I have a target. You know, at least I have an open file. So I would say that of the jostling in the opening, I think I have the slightly better position. But there is a key move in this position for white that will make the game a fight, if I can say that. Yes, it's a semi-open file, is technically the book term, but I'm staring down basically the entire board, so I'm gonna call it an open file. So this was not quite the move, and I don't want to say the move out loud. You want to make this pawn break, but it's not good because you loosen your center. You also do not want to take because you break your structure. I think the best move here, it's a hard move to play. I actually think the best move here is to move this knight, like here, for example, and then rebuild the center. At the same time, you can double your rooks, but my idea is just I want to play e5 in the future. But besides knight d8, I don't really see anything. I mean, maybe I move my queen out. Right, that looks decent, moving my queen over there. But then still, like, in order for me to successfully play the move e5, something has to be done with this pawn. Knight a5 is... I don't really want to put my knight out there. So let's come back for a second with the knight. And then maybe we can even play like this in the future. Okay, my opponent expands on that side of the board. Not an illogical move. Thanks, Chupacho. Anonymous gifted a sub to everybody. Except not really everybody. Okay, I have a very interesting idea. What if I do this and this and this? Is that the stupidest thing ever? I mean, my opponent can just move their rook, right? Like, I don't... But then my bishop isn't, like, awful. Looks a little bit stupid. I'm gonna go with stupid. But then, you know, where else is my bishop gonna go? Okay, I'm gonna stick to normal plans. I'm gonna defend my center as I was planning to, and then I will play e5. But... Or then, you know, maybe I'll route my knight to this side of the board somehow. I mean, that looked like a pretty cool thing. I mean, just one move kills the whole plan, and then bishop a4 is... So, yeah. Yeah, plan was a bit suspicious, but that's how plans are made. I mean, my bishop is bad, you know? It's stuck behind a bunch of pawns on the same color. I have 7 pawns on light squares. That's not a good move. That is a very, very bad move. A very bad move. I cannot stress how bad that pawn capture is. That pawn capture, I think, is positionally now losing for white. I think white is now lost from a positional standpoint. I did not capture with the c pawn because this undoubles my pawns. It creates this pawn chain. My bishop is now alive. My queen and rook now target the e3 pawn if this pawn moves. cd5... Very, very bad decision. Very bad decision. And we'll analyze after. And I'm not, like, being, you know, hostile toward my opponent. It's incredible at this level what one pawn trade does. cd5, ed5, and now black is almost winning. Like, very close, I would say, to positionally just winning here. I'm not actually sure what white can do. I'm honestly not sure because rook c1 doesn't even do anything, right? Now with my open bishop, I mean, I'm even thinking h5 and bishop g4, h5, h4, you know, because look at how many pieces I have on this side of the board. Can route my knight in. I mean, what do we do? I really like h5, actually. You know, same side attacking and opening the king is possible if the opponent is so passive. Like, think about this. My opponent doesn't have any forward moves with these 3 pieces. No, my opponent cannot play b5 because I just take. I mean, it's just a free pawn. Yes, it opens up the file, but it's just a free pawn. I could have played a6. At the same time, I can also just ignore this. I can just ignore it. I don't have to take it. So my opponent plays h3, right? That's a decent move. Now h4, there's g4. And then I can bring my horse. I can also just bring my horse. which blocks the rook for a second, but then the pawn is a target. Just realize that on Twitch we have music if I don't talk. On YouTube it's completely silent. I don't want them to think the video crashed. So we will, no, h4 is also very dangerous because I'll plant the bishop. I'm not saying the move out loud. I know Aki, of course. I've played Aki, of course, multiple times. So I would expect no stream sniping. Yeah, so f4, you know, the move was f3. A long time ago, like here, you know, here, my opponent had to play f3. And if you're, you know, if you're a Fine Gold cult member, then you will never play this and you will never get out of your problems here. And f4, you know, I have a choice now between keeping the position closed and en passanting. And my instinct tells me that taking en passant here, justifying my open files, is the way to go. Yes, I give my opponent forward space, but the thing is that now if you play h4, they're going to play g4. And if I get my opponent to close the position on this side of the board, it doesn't really matter how much of a space advantage I have, because I can't actually break through. So now my queen and rook, and again we see the problem with allowing my queen and rook to have this open file. Right? Like, think about that. Think about that. Now we see the problem. I mean, I used to have a pawn on e6. How much worse would my position be if my pawn was on e6? Right? So, well, we see the benefit. Now knight g5 is winning, because it hits the rook and the pawn. If my opponent takes, I take with the bishop. And then I'm threatening the pawn on e3 still, and the pawn on h3. That's not h3. h3. What if I take with the rook, though? What? I said h3, and Siri thought I said something that triggers Siri. Can I also take with the rook and then play queen e6, but then there's maybe pawn h4? That, I mean, I like rook f8. I also like bishop f8 is very... The thing is, I can't say hey Siri, because then hey Siri is going to get triggered. Oh, no, it's fine. So, now, again, we see the issue. There are two things under attack. It's really tough to say which of those two pawns will lead to the collapse of the white position. I'm inclined to say that... Oh, that's a good move. That's a great move. Now, I'm going to use the concept of danger levels here. I'm going to disregard the attack on my knight. I mean, if I take now, then we trade and I lose my knight. So I'm going to play, using this new free square, I'm going to play bishop g4. In improving the position of my bishop for a move before I move my knight. My bishop is significantly better on that square than the other squares. So... And now the big question is, do I play knight to e4? And I don't think so. I just said it wasn't a good move? Sorry? What did I just say was not a good move? That's another good move. I'm a little bit going insane. So that now attacks this. I can give a check, but then we capture and then pawn, and so I have to actually play the move bishop f5, which I'm not thrilled about. I don't want to go knight e4. I don't want to go knight e4 because, again, there's going to be a blockade. I don't want to really block anything here. It could be decent, but I want to keep my pressure. I said h4 was not good a few moves ago, but now it's better because it's the only way that it prevents the pawn from being lost. You have to think, why would I mean, I'm trying my best to say everything, but if I miss something, you gotta go, why? Why is he saying that it... A few moves ago, h4 weakened the white position, and I could play something like this, for example. But now this is the only way to avoid losing a lot of material. Why not take e3? Because we trade and I would have lost my knight. Knight to h3 check is decent, but then just king h2. I think I'm going to have to back up with my knight. Question is where? e6 looks good. Let's go to f7 because I want to maintain my vision. And if I go to d6, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 things fighting for that. So knight to d6, I am completely dominating the square in front of that pawn. And the general rule of thumb is if you can control the square in front of a pawn extensively, then you will probably win that pawn in the future. So my opponent wants this, which would block my vision. I'm going to play knight c4, which hits the pawn and fights for this square also. I also hit the bishop, but that bishop is kind of terrible, so I don't really want to take it. So now on knight e5, I would take, and leave this pawn. Yeah, leaving this pawn here. So here, and then I go for the pawn. That looks pretty good. So the difference now in this trade is that I've blocked my vision, but this is a very easy target. I can always play bishop g4 if I need to. For example, if my opponent plays this, which does look like the best move here. And would result in me having to play bishop g4. I don't know what that does, but it definitely does not stop me from taking this pawn. Yeah, I mean, my opponent is playing extremely solid. I mean, that's the benefit of this elo, is that games are not going to be over quickly. So I got rid of their bishop, but they still have a very obvious target here on e3. Now, generally, to win positions like this, you need to target more weaknesses, and you need to maximize your pressure. So oftentimes, if there's a pin, you need to throw in a pawn move to like completely destroy the position. Sometimes you need to trade the light squared bishop because that bishop is a key defender of certain squares. Sometimes it's a pawn break. Sometimes they can just run out on time. But generally, when they get low on time, they're going to blunder. So my opponent just lost another pawn. And then there's a little tactic here, which might happen after queen to f2. Or rook, or even now, actually. I can take. And then using the king's position, I can play bishop e4. And this is completely winning now because my opponent cannot check me. And I can simplify. I can actually even take this pawn first. And then this. So now here. And we went, it's a $25 donation. Very generous and now made in the corner. Nice little idea there. This bishop, which started very poorly, turned out to be the $1 million piece. So, that game was basically characterized by a few changes in the pawn structure. And pawn play in general. In positions with 8 pawns aside, it's going to come down to the breaks in the position. And in the opening, I mean, I wasn't much better here or anything. I mean, in fact, the engine kind of likes white's position if white plays f3. My opponent played a nice expansion on the queen side, but this was the final moment when... So this position is plus 0.2, which is equal. Right, which is equal. And f3 is a very good move. C takes d5 is -2. Isn't that insane? One pawn trade goes from plus 0.3, 0.2 to -2. I mean, I told you when it happened, I was like, that's it, black is winning. Like in one move. Just one pawn trade helps black's position so much that the game is like basically over, which is astounding. Knight f7, well, h5 is not the best move. The plan with knight f7 is the best. Now knight f7 is the best move. En passant is the best move. Knight g5 is the best move. Did I take the right way? No, see, the computer likes rook f8. The computer likes to take back like this. But I played, yeah, I missed this, which was a nice move. Then I played knight d6, now knight c4, and then here was the final moment. My opponent could have used danger levels and played the move e4. And, wow, e4 equalizes. Wait, what? How does this equalize? See, if I take, and I take, he defends e5. But if I take this, then he just takes on f5, and I lose, which is amazing. I lose because I'm now all of a sudden just losing material. Like everything. Crisscross applesauce, I'm gonna lose a piece. So I saw e4, but I thought that after e4, I just play bishop g4. Oh! Oh, he just like moves his queen away. And I can't take on e5. Wait, no, I can take on e5. What does the computer want? Oh, the computer's just the computer's so mean. I hate the computer. It's just like rook f1, dude. Take my second pawn, I have queen f7. And now I'm just winning. So there you go. I mean, even all the way down the line, I mean, that was a really competitive game. Just sack the pawns and go for an attack on the king. Yeah, whatever. I mean, we played that game the best that we could. But it's instructive. What did we do wrong? Knight c4 apparently was bad. Well, yeah. The computer says when the opponent is going for this, don't fight for this square, go here instead. Fight for this. Which would have forced my opponent to play king h2. Ah, no, the engine doesn't want to let the knight move. Yeah, it's the only winning move, bishop g4. Yeah, the computer thinks that in a closed position with so many pawns, it's better to keep the knight under control. Because if the knight can plant itself, you see how powerful knights are? Outpost squares. Follow Gothamchess on Instagram. The next carousel post that I make is going to be about outposts. Yeah, you see the power. Right, you see the power. My friends, I'm going to actually have to skip some of you. There is no way we are going to be able to play this many games of 10-minute chess. So I'm going to go to Eason Wang. Palto, I hope you forgive me. You made it to my other video. You also made it to my how to play chess openings video. So I'm going to play Eason Wang next. Never mind, Eason Wang is not in live chess, so I'm going to play Palto. Outstanding. So I'm not playing Eason. D4. Last time I played Palto, he played CARO KANN. Let's see what he plays against the London. I told him what I'm going to play. Bishop f4. You know, actually, I'm going to start playing Bishop g5 against some people as well. Trumpowski. Okay, well, we know what we do against this. Little caballo c3. Caballo c3. So the next person who I'll play is Abdul, and then I'll end with Christoph. And now queen to... I'll go e4. Because now it's no longer a London. If my opponent plays d5 here, that's fine. I'll just play queen d2 or e3. Yeah, my opponent is YouTube famous. He made it into 3 YouTube videos in 1 week. Shout out to Palto from Greece. Never been to Greece. I hear great things. Not about the economy, but about how beautiful it is. Now, of course, bishop h6 is good. Long castles is good. Alright, so this is the idea. Of course, e5 is also an idea. I'm going to play bishop h6. Why is bishop h6 good? You should try to answer that first. That's what I tell all students. When they ask me a question, I always tell them, what would you answer? Like, why do you think it's good? It's like, well, it's the defender of the king, and the king's Indian. I mean, they've got 3, right, pawns and a dark squared bishop. So now I'm going to play the move d5. Because actually, oh, that's not good. Now my opponent is allowing me to win tempi on the horsey. And this is good for me. I'm just getting more space. I'd love to push forward. But the problem here with h4 is that my opponent will I don't know about that, actually. I don't know about that. Please do not play this move. Oh, wait, my opponent's watching the stream. Please play the move that I just highlighted. That would result in me getting a completely winning position. You know what? I'm going to try to play all of you. Oh, no, that's very bad. No, you had to be passive. In his desire to be active, he now lost the game. Because now his knight... I mean, now, look at this. This is not good. This is not good. This is subpar. But this is the benefit of putting attacking pressure on a King's Indian player. And I've shown in the past few videos how to deal with opposite side castling. You might even have to delay castling with black sometimes. And that's okay. That's okay, as long as you can create annoying situations for your opponent. I'm going to try to play all of you. Try to play all of you. Easton Wong signed up 2 times and then left. So, this is really an issue. This is not a pleasant situation to be in if you are playing with the black pieces. I want to say it's actually already basically losing, which is crazy. But 3 knight moves. My opponent's biggest mistake here is that they did not fight with the pawns. You cannot put knights into pawns like this. This is just not gonna work. This is not gonna work. Do you think pros are just as likely to be confused when an under 800, for example, plays a totally random move? What does that mean? Just as likely to be confused as... Generally, a statement like that has a comparison. The thing is, the difference is that stronger players know how to punish bad moves when they're confused. Well, now I'm just going to take, and this is also no good. We just opened the file here. Okay, so the rook is under attack. Of course, we can move it. We can just go crazy and counterattack. We can block the bishop. I mean, I'm inclined to just play bishop e2 and shut up. You know, just go here, because we're up a knight. So I'm very happy to go like this. There was also a move like f5, which could have maybe gotten our queen in, defended by the rook, but then h7 is protected. So just play bishop e2 and shush. My opponent sacrificed because I guess he saw that g5 was coming. And he didn't like the fact that I would be attacking both knights. But I am not my opponent. I am Gothamchess. I've never... Oh, that's a good move, actually. I like that move, because now my queen can't get in. Okay, now we have a move. Of course, we can take, and then the knight would take. If the pawn takes, then our rook is open. I think we have a move here that is lights out. It's lights out. Do you guys know what that move is? It's a move which doesn't just casually develop a piece. This move should basically win for white on the spot because it's the final breakthrough. Yeah, it's just e5. It's just e5. And the way you figure out this move is you look at checks, captures, attacks, every single move. I don't have a check. This capture is whatever. I mean, it's there if I want it. And then attacks. And this is the move that attacks the most amount of material that I could win in this position, right? Which is a knight. Which is a knight. So I go here, my opponent takes, I take back. This is still well protected. This is protected. So my opponent's got to get out. If my opponent takes, I'm not taking. I'm going to take with check, which is more forcing, and then I will win the second piece. I'll be up 2 knights. So, yeah, after e5, it's a serious issue. Also, remember that the knight is the protector here. Now I take. Now there's a big difference, because the pawn opens the file of the rook. And to justify this, we don't go here and lose like a Botez. We go queen h2. And now queen h7, or queen h8. And this is over. We can also get a knight involved. Why no king b1? Again, if you are part of the Feingold cult, you'll always play king b1, but in this game, we've been attacking ever since we castled queenside. We never really had a moment to just sit and chill and whatever, you know? I can go king b1 whenever I want, but... Okay. It's a good... Is that a good move? Wait a second. Take? Attack on the queen? But then queen g5. So you always have to look for checks for your opponents too. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying. I mean, what if I just completely shut that down with the move knight e4? Chat, you guys are falling for the pasta bait. That person wrote that message, and now you've fallen for it. Okay, let's go rook f1. I like this move because I line up my other rook on this file, and then my rook is going to team up with my queen. I like that. That's good. That's nice. And then I need to get my knight in the game. I'm not really afraid of this check because then I'll play king b1 on command. Go king b1. Guys, I'm gonna try to keep the chat normal. Keep it reasonable. Okay. Knight here is a good move. D6 is good. Oh, DE is the best. Just taking. I'll tell you why. Because the rook is covering the pawn. And queen h7, king f8, queen f7 is mate. If my opponent takes. And if my opponent takes with the f-pawn, my opponent cannot run to the f-file. So d takes e6 is very mean. It's a very mean move. Now there is a threat of mate in 3 moves. Do you all see it? Do you all see it? That's a good move. It's not mate. It's not quite a mate. Pawn takes allows knight f6, which I don't want to allow. Okay, but we have something. So now, again, we want to prevent the king from running to f8. That's the problem. Like, in all of these checks y'all are suggesting... Oh, you guys saw this, and rook f6. That is nice. That's very nice. Queen h8, king f8, rook takes f6. And then the pin. Nice. I mean, I don't know if y'all saw that. But what I'm seeing is that when the knight takes... I'm not really sure what my opponent's thinking about, because if king f8, I take the rook, it's all bad. So if knight takes f6, I'm thinking this move. Splat with knight to e4. And this is this should be game over. Because now I hit the queen and the knight, and if the knight takes, the rook no longer... sorry, the f-file no longer has any shield. So knight takes e4, queen to h7 is checkmate in 1 move. And there it is. So this was all possible because we shredded open the files on the side. Queen h8 is not mate because of the rook in the corner. I know this rook didn't move, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Okay, it's like having a cat. It'll sit in the corner, but it's there. All right. So we did this by shredding open the files on the king side. Okay, Ozdan, you are next. 3 more games. Let's try to make this. Happen. Playing with the black pieces, Swedish player Ozdan. I've been trying to go to a tournament at the end of every year called Rilton Cup. I think it's in Stockholm. E4. Let's play French defense. Oh, exchange? Oh, Ozdan. You and I are gonna have a serious talk. Disgusting. But that's okay. Because now you will learn how to beat the exchange French in 20 moves or less. Unless my opponent, like, finds a way to play the most boring line. So first things first, knight c6. That's kind of a weird move. Bishop d6. Catch how I'm developing my pieces. Okay. Now, you can go bishop f5 here. Generally, you like this pin, but we don't have it, so I'm going to play bishop f5. Change song, please. You followed 13 minutes ago and you want me to change my music? You are also very free to just mute. See, YouTube, you guys don't have to worry. You just hear my voice. Although we do have good music here. I also like just playing h6 and bishop to e6. I didn't play bishop e6 immediately because knight g5. Oh my god, there's a fly in my room. Oh my god, it's freaking out. Oh my god. Why is there a fly in here? There's never been a fly in here. All right, I'm just gonna play my game. That guy sent the fly for me. That guy sent the fly for me. Fantastic. That guy said, you think you're funny, Gotham? I'm gonna play queen d7. It's the Pence spy. All right, we're gonna be black hoodie guy here. Actually, you know what? I'm not. Look, he's not happy. He's not happy. He just doesn't like the stream. Yo, sit quietly. I liked it more before you were flying around. I hope the fly flies into the radiator. That would be the best part. Anyway, no. I had a fruit fly. I had a tiny fly in here, and that fly. I mean, fruit flies don't live very long, so, I just hate all flying insects. I was gonna say all flying things, then I realized planes are pretty good. It's planes are pretty decent, so. Knight h4. Oh, God, this opponent is like a Dementor. You know in Harry Potter? I feel like playing. I'm not going to trade any pieces. Out of stubbornness, I'm not going to play this move. My opponent also refuses to castle. I mean, this man is like literally a floating Dementor sucking the happiness out of the position. Just castle, do something. Okay, I'm gonna play h6. Again, I'm not telling him where I'm castling. He's also not telling me where it's just a giant mind game. Okay, he castles long. Oh man, we are not going to be able to beat this guy in 20 moves. If he had castled short, I was going to castle long and start an attack, but he stopped that. He's actually playing extremely creatively, which I don't like. I normally say extremely creatively when it's bad. Now I will start to trade some pieces. See, I thought he was going to castle short. I'm still going to decide where to castle, but now I'm going to get the bishop pair. So I'm going to get the two bishops. If he goes bishop b5, I play c6. If he plays bishop a4, play b5. If he plays bishop b3, play a5. So he's going to, yeah, well, maybe that's going to happen. Where in New York City do I live? Like, you want my, like, exact address? Okay, so now, oh, that's not good. He thinks he's winning my queen, but he's forgetting that I can just block the, like, this. Just this. So, I'm okay. Although he's still trying to put some pressure on me. Very disrespectful play here by my opponent. I'm gonna castle now. Now I'm gonna castle, and definitely not this way, because all the pawns got destroyed. But now that my king is out of the pin, my queen will also get out of the pin. Like this, and now we're winning. That was easy. That was not a... That was weird. My opponent played super solid chess for 15 moves and then just sacked a piece. I suppose that's how some 1500 chess works, you know? And it is 2 pawns, to his credit, it is 2 pawns, but the problem is, he opened the position. And that is not what you want to do on the side that you castle. So now I'm going to play knight a5. That attacks this rock. He should not go here because it loses. Actually, wait a second, he's just losing. Well, so look at this. He danger leveled my danger level. Rook versus queen. But he forgot that there's another danger level to the king. So he attacked my queen. When I attacked his rook, but I attacked I attacked his king, and now we're up a rook. That was so weird. He played so solid for like 15 moves, and then total chaos. I don't know. That was wild. You think you're the first Iranian in the chat? I don't know, man. 6,700 viewers. No one from Iran? Maybe. But no, I'm definitely not from Staten Island. Also, not the biggest fan. Maybe we try to sneak in? Now, of course, the king wants to run. Of course, playing something like knight f5 is good. Knight f5 probably is the best move. It guarantees I get one of the pieces off the board. Let's go knight f5. Oh, turns out, well, it looks like we have a neo-Nazi in the chat. YouTube, isn't this great? It's a great experience. You gotta love it. Fantastic. It was amazing. I just banned someone who had hate numbers in their username. And... oh man, wow, that is quite a rich chat history. Quite a rich chat history. That guy had 4 racist messages in his chat history, and 4 messages, all of which said, "Do you play chess at Washington Square Park?" Very balanced. 4 questions about playing chess in the park, and four things being racist against Jews. Very balanced. Amazing stuff. Anyway, chat. Let's keep moving. Can sacrifice, but I'm not too inspired by my opponent. Yes, I am. You know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. No, you guys are great. You guys are fantastic. Somebody said New York. He just got very, I don't know. It's like, you know, like, have you guys ever seen Winter Soldier? Like that kind of a thing. It's like when you say certain words, the person's brain gets activated, like a sleeper cell. Something happened. I'm gonna bring this. So I am inspired by my opponent. I'm gonna use the open files just like we did last game. Okay, I have Queen E1, but somehow he's surviving if I play Queen E1, which is... wait, no, he's not. Oh, this is nice. Look at this. Puzzle Rush. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So I calculated this, which looks like mate, after Queen D1, and then I went take, 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 take. And we just go Rook first, Bishop endgame, which is winning. But here I'm winning with Rook takes, King takes, Rook C8, using the concept of danger levels to give checks to the king, to deflect the king away from the queen. Both are winning. If we had more time, I would play the endgame, right? But I'm gonna do this because it's faster and it's the right way to go, right? So take, king takes, and now I bring my rook, and the king has to deflect away from the queen, and we win. So rather than taking the queen first, most people think it's common, even in my mind, it was common to think about moving the queen first because the queen is the first thing that just moved. And now this is mate. Oh wait, no it's not. We're gonna give this check. Because, yeah, I forgot about king e2. I thought queen c2, this is mate, but he has king e2. Okay, we'll go like this. My opponent wants to run away. Okay, I'll take the bishop. Where is the checkmate in this position? Check. I want to pre-move it. Is that unnecessary? It's probably unnecessary. If king g, I see the problem is king g4. I can't quite pre-move it. Rook e4. I just want the king to come forward. All right, Abdul Rahman, you are next. My opponent is playing out for instructive value. Check. No. Maybe, should we make a draw out of pity? Okay, let's make a draw. Just kidding. No draw. Where's my mate? I want, like, the fastest mate possible. Did you guys actually think I was going to give a draw there? Wow. Very merciful. Benevolent. 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 Oh my god. I thought I said the word wrong, and it turns out I said the word... It's... But what did I... It's... But... Wait, did I say it right? But yeah, I don't even know what I said. Did I say it right or not? Benevolent. Benevolent. What did I say? What did I say? Okay, mate. Goodness me. Did I say benevolent? Benevolent? Benevolent. 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 Okay, I'm done. E4. 2 more games. Let's play knight c3 against the Sicilian defense. So far, we have not seen this. I don't believe. So we're gonna play knight c3, and now we're gonna play a sideline. We're gonna play bishop b5. This is one of my favorites, and this is so far the strongest person. This guy and the next guy are gonna be the strongest people I've played yet in the How to Win at Chess series. Oh my god, the fly is back. Bro, okay, I'm sorry, I won't play the close Sicilian again. I won't play the close Sicilian again, don't hurt me! I'm gonna play the close Sicilian again. So the point is to take. Dude, this fly is like floating. I've never seen that before. It's just literally floating in the air. It's just floating. It's like a closed space, too. It's like, oh my god. So this is the point now. And we're going to play on the light squares. So we've traded off our light squared bishop for his knight. And the position will take a closed nature. I'm going to play moves like f4. Okay, this is the way you play these positions. You've traded off the bishop. Ooh, that's already a mistake. Because I think I can just go e5. So I've traded off my light squared bishop. And I'm stronger. What color square am I stronger on, chat? Dark squares. Why? I've got 3 pieces that can fight on dark squares. Both knights and my bishop. My opponent's got 2. The point of the move e5 is for me to play my knight to the middle. Now I'm attacking this, kind of, because there is queen a5 check, but I've created a dark squared clamp on these 2 squares. Notice all of these squares are on light squares, right? Now I'll go knight f3 and castle, and in the future, we will use the open lines. Yo, it's behind the screen. Can I kill a fly on stream? I'm very upset right now. Knight f3. In the future, my opponent will have to take a damage to their structure. Hi from YouTube. This is my first Twitch live. You're in. It's an exciting one. It's a very exciting one. I'm gonna castle. I could have played the move g4 here to try to remove the knight from guarding d6, but then my opponent would have played this. Now I actually can consider it, but I'm just gonna castle. So as I said, my opponent will need to take a damage to their structure in order to break here. That's what's gonna have to happen. So for example, the move d6 would leave my opponent with doubled c-pawns. Isolated doubled c-pawns, which is not good. Now, in the future, I would love to get something going like this. That is the benefit of moving the pawn up to f4, is that you have this little route for your queen. Normally, the pawn is on f2. So, now, of course, the way I played this e5 is only good against e6. If my opponent had played d6 early, it wouldn't have been as good. Okay. I want to go here. That's just winning. That's just the winning move. My opponent went d6 now, thinking that I would take, and then he would take. And that's good, because he opens the bishop. But g4 is just winning. g4 is just winning. It's just winning now because the king is safe, and the knight will take on d6. And that is not good. That's not good. Now, there are still some moves here for my opponent. It ain't over. It ain't over. But we got a good position. d5, yes. Nice move. Very nice. Take here. And push. Then take. Then take. Then take. Then take. Do we like that? Take an f6. I don't know. Do we like that? Do we like that? Knight c5 is a free pawn. I don't know why we're calculating all this when there's just a free pawn. Yeah, why did we calculate all that when we can just take this for free? I mean, queen b6 is a thing to our king here, but we just go d4. So I'll tell you why I didn't play this. Because on f6, my opponent sacrifices the bishop. And then if I take, they take my knight, and then they're going to take my pawn. So it's a 3-4 move calculation. And none of it is necessary. But you know what is necessary? Breakfast. I got criticized in the first episode of this series, or the second. Somebody in the chat, like in the 58th minute or something, I went to get breakfast. Somebody was like, "You can't leave us with dead air." But I might have to do that in a second, because I'm very hungry. Did I just go d4 here? Maybe develop a piece. Maybe bishop. Maybe pawn. What do we do? Pawn or bishop? I don't know. Maybe queen? This whole thing? Maybe g5 shut down the f-pawn from moving? What do I do? f6 is a annoyance. Let's play chess. d4. Queen e1 is good, but I like stabilizing my center. I don't know. I get it, but I don't like it. Queen e1, queen h4, that's the plan. Now, I do mute myself when I'm chewing. I've started to do that more. Man, this knight is not worth this bishop. But I don't want to put my rook on f2 and then block. Okay, let's do it. It's probably the right thing to do. Chat, why are you all spamming the move C4? Are you guys insane? We're doing so many instructive games and y'all just lose a pawn for zero reason at all. Like, what? Come on, chat. What are y'all doing, man? I'm trying to, like, teach y'all. Y'all out here like, hey, yo, play C4, streamer. Queen E1 was a bad move, you think? Okay. Well, there are three options, right? Number one, you're a stronger player than me watching the stream. In which case, that's really strange. I don't know why you're watching a weaker player play the game. Number two, you're lower rated. And you're trying to challenge my viewpoint of a move, which I respect. And number three, you're using a computer. And the computer didn't like Queen E1. Those are the three options. I respect debating a move. Absolutely respect that. That is totally reasonable. And if you're a stronger player and you're watching, that's just strange. Are you trying to, like... I don't know. I've had that happen before. I've been backseated sometimes. But other than that, what if you are a computer? What does Queen H4 achieve? Just getting the queen over to this side of the board. Try to get to the king. I am hesitant to make this trade. I don't like that my opponent's bishop gets activated. Is No, sacrificing a pawn isn't any good. Here's a question. How do you decide when attacking piece to move first when going to attack a king? It's a great point. I mean, ultimately it just comes down to calculation. G5, no good, because my opponent plays F5 and closes it up. Also, G5 gives him the F5 square, which I do not want my opponent to have. However, I will set up a trick. Doink, bink, doink, schnapp, bomb, slam. Okay? That's what we're going for. I see people saying king h1. Oh, wow. Someone said king h1, knight g1, rook f3, rook h3. That is very clever, but that is way too long of a plan. That's not going to work. Some things just look a bit artificial, and that is one of those situations you'd go... You know, it's like... Why wouldn't black play rook takes f6? Possible. But bishop f6 would have come with a tempo. That's the difference. Bishop f6 comes with an attack on the queen, whereas rook f6 is a little bit of a target, maybe? What? What about a4, rook a3, knight g5, rook h3? Sick, dude. That's a sick plan. I love it. You win. Okay, now we're gonna go for the schnapp bomb slap bop bop drop plan. Yes, you cannot plan 4 white moves and not expect anything from black, correct. And plus, undeveloping your pieces so drastically. Thank you, Sprite. That's a $20 donation. Thank you so much. Like I said, this was the plan. This is instructional, but this doesn't show how to play out of poor positions. I'm sorry. Would you like me to lose pieces? More? I can do that. Check. Now we're up 2 pawns. So our plan came true. Snap, bam, pop, boom. Right? Take. Now the transition can go into the endgame. Now we can go to an endgame. Now the question is, how do we play this out? So I like bishop d2 as a starting spot. Bishop has a pressure on the a5 square. That's a good move. Knight e5 is very logical, but so is just a very calm c3. My opponent has a good position for the cost of 2 pawns, but it might not be enough. Okay, I'm gonna go here. And if you want to trade, I'm down, but you are 2 pawns down, so maybe you're not down. I might do a speed run where I sacrifice pieces in different rating ranges and then see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That just seems like it would be a potential disaster in case I lost a lot of games. Okay, rook e1. I think what's going to decide this game is the queenside structure. What I mean by that is, it's going to advance forward, and then I'm going to break through with a passed pawn. Because even though I'm up 3-on-2 on this side of the board, which is how you should look at it, you can hardly say that's any sort of advantage. Knight takes... This is a... Yeah, oh, that's a huge blunder. Oh, man. I totally missed knight takes d4. After c takes d4, bishop d4, it's a fork. And knight d4 also guards the rook on e6. Yeah, knight d4 is a fantastic move. He should absolutely play that. And then I'm only up 1 pawn. But the good thing is I deflect his knight away from the f5 square. So at least when on knight d4, rook e6, knight e6, I can play rook e1 hitting the knight. And then the knight can't go back. Just kidding, knight takes d4 was a terrible move. Don't stream snipe. And I'll tell you why. It was bad because I would have taken. And then he would have forked me. And I would have moved my king. And he still has a hanging rook. He still has a hanging rook. That would have been the issue. He didn't solve his problems. Right? So if he took my rook in the corner, I take his rook. He takes my rook, I take with my corner rook. So, wow, good move. Good move. Oof, yikes. That move looks almost impossible to stop this threat. But I'm gonna go here. I can stop it. It's an uncomfortable move, but you have to play it. Goodness gracious, he is playing very well. Can I go? No, a4, there's this. Okay. Take. Knight d3 attacks his rook, which I like. Check, it like doesn't do anything, just king f7. Let's go knight. Oh man, but there's just so many like little problems with my position. I don't really want to go knight d1. Okay, I'm gonna play this a4 move because like I said a long time ago, things are gonna get decided on the queen side. And I think that's what we're heading toward. Let's go knight e4. And then maybe we just block the position? Yeah, That looks pretty good. And now we have this. Yeah, this is a very positional game. Okay, that's extremely tricky. But I'm going to take, and now don't take again, because there is bishop d4. Play king f1. Oh, that was not even... That's actually a fine move. It's an okay move. Rook check now. No. Yeah, rook check is fine. Now we can take. He plays that. Knight f6 check also doesn't work because the bishop takes and protects the rook. It's never too late to absolutely throw the game away when you're a deserved winner. He goes for my other weakness. Okay, I'm going to create a danger level concept here. And he hangs his bishop. Finally! That was a good game. He played very well. This is a game to be proud of. Now, rook. Okay, that move is not to be proud of, but he had 10 seconds, so nothing to say. That was a good game. It was a good game. I showed an idea in the close Sicilian where you trade off your bishop for the knight, and then you play d3 and f4, which is interesting. And then you castle, and you create some attacking ideas on this side of the board with g4, queen e1, queen h4, and so on. Okay? Now, if he had played knight d4, I actually really like this move, knight f3. It's pretty funny. You say, why would you play knight f3? Was he an engine user? Oh, yeah, he totally cheated. Totally. Yeah. That's why he was losing for 90% of that game. Yeah. He was using a bad engine. He was using Stockfish 2. That's why Stockfish 2 plays like like 2200. Yeah. So I'm sarcastic. He wasn't cheating. Again, not everybody that plays a good game of chess is cheating. It's very important we don't just blame everybody and accuse everybody. Like, you have to have some reason, right? So if he had played knight d4, I would have played knight f3 and given up my bishop. And this is a really interesting system because you give your bishop and don't do any damage to their position, but you're much better. You're like, it's equal. So now you're going to be like, what the heck does that mean? So at the highest of levels, it's equal. But from a practical standpoint, I would say this is almost winning for white at like intermediate level. I'll tell you why. Because black can fall into so many traps here. And like, for example, knight f6, they lose to e5. This is just very bad. They play g6. I really like just the immediate d4. And d4, c takes, queen takes, hitting the rook. Who guards the rook? Knight f6, e5. Lost for black. Like, the move g6, trying to go for just a very natural g7, bishop g7, I mean, with like dragon setup, loses to d4. So you play like d4, bring the queen out, develop the bishop, long castle. All your pieces are out. I really like this line. The rest of the game was very interesting. The rest of the game was, I was slightly better forever. And then, I won a second pawn, but he defended well. It took me consolidating my position and dealing with his counterplay. What if e6? That's what he played in the game. Oh, you mean here. Then d4. Bishop g5, queen, and long castle. That's what I said. That's why I like this so much. White has 3 developed pieces, and there is no knight c6. Because you already, the knight is gone. How do you get your head around sacrificing a bishop for positional advantage? Fair question. So I replaced my pawns on light squares, and then he put all his pawns on light squares. And with one switch flip, you can change the game from light squared control to dark squared control. Okay? One move. e5. And now Swiss cheese. Boom, open the door for the horse. And all of that is going to be occupied, right? And even though we've traded off the light squared bishop, his light squared bishop is completely negated from the game because he's put so many pawns on light squares. So this was an instructive game. Actually, after e6, it's already +1 for white after e5. +1. 1.2, 1.3. It's a big advantage. Big advantage. He played well, but he definitely, instead of e6 in this position, should consider d6. And then trying to play for e5, and then making sure this bishop can at least try to come out. How do you get advantage for light or dark squares? I mean, it's... Look at how many pawns they have on light squares. It's, again, guys, it's things that I'm saying in these sentences for you to pick up on. If your opponent has 7 out of 8 pawns on light squares, that means that the dark squares are weak. The pawns determine, oftentimes, the control of the squares that you have. Okay, if there's 3 pawns, and, you know, that means it's an endgame, probably, so you can't really do the same thing. In a closed position, it depends on the structure of the pawns. So, okay, one more game against Christoph. Got the black pieces here. I've played Christoph multiple times. He's from Norway. Never mind, I've played him once. I played a French before. This game, I will play my true joy, the CARO. KANN. Here we go. The CARO got me from 2,000 to 2,300, really. Against e5, I will play bishop to f5, which is the main line. Now let's see what he plays. Knight f3. Okay, h4 is the move. So, see, I'm disappointed. He's not playing the Tal variation. Let's play e6. This is the main line of the advance. Now, bishop d3 is exceptionally solid. It's not a very critical move at all. The standard antidote is to take it and then play queen a5 check and queen a6, trading this queen. Maybe we do that. We will teach you how to win a position which is basically completely equal. Like, completely equal. So this is the antidote. You don't need to play like this. You can also play c5 and create a French structure where you don't have a bad bishop. But I'm gonna, you know, somebody said you don't teach us how to fight from bad positions. Against, you know, everyone's gonna criticize something. So I'm gonna teach you how to fight from a totally equal position, just focusing on pawn structure and piece play. Okay, okay, very good. Yes, yes. Isn't c5 the main line in CARO Advance? Who told you that? If you look at any openings database, this move is probably played like 7 times as much, 6 times as much. So a3, I can keep developing, but I'm actually already gonna break with the move c5. So I'm going to create my first pawn break here on the queen side. And I'm also going to use the c-file. Okay, that's an interesting move. Let's go knight e7, which blocks our bishop for a moment, but the knight is protecting the pawn. Now c4 here locks the position too much. I don't want c4. I want one pawn trade so I can, you know, etc., etc. The KANN got me from 2,000 to master, and I was winning about 3/4 of my games with black, which is an astounding statistic, actually. Like, that's not supposed to happen. So rook c8, because we're going to fight on the c-file. You're not supposed to win 75% of your games at all. 75% of your games with black against e4 is... So, the only game I ever beat Hikaru in Blitz was a CARO. You know, the CARO's been my beloved weapon for many years. So that, the only game I ever beat Hikaru, and then he adopted me. But it was my only win. Is it because the CARO is uncommon? No, it's because the CARO is the greatest opening of all time. Okay, so I see the bishop, I'm immediately going for it. Why not use CARO to become GM? Oh, thanks, Everblade. I didn't think of it like that. Just play the CARO every game with white, with black, and I'll just become a grandmaster. I should hire you as a coach. Sorry, I'm being sarcastic. Levy, you're so disrespectful. Well, I mean, listen, if someone watching on YouTube made it to the 75th minute and I said that, look, it's a silly thing to say. Hey, don't insult the guy. Hey, I can be sarcastic. It doesn't mean you have to insult him. This is the difference between a sarcastic response and a mean one. Okay? Don't insult anybody. I mean, it's not so simple, man. You know, people play different openings. Plus, the advanced KANN is a very good weapon. You know, the CARO doesn't win all the time at GM level. It just doesn't. It's a good opening. Okay, I want to play G. It's a good opening, but white can do plenty of things to counter it. Okay, now I'm going to take. I might have been a little bit early. It's okay. Hikaru says the CARO KANN is a bad opening. He doesn't. He doesn't say that. Like I don't know what is in the brain. He literally says it's one of the best openings you can learn as a beginner. Like no Benny Watts has a line in Queen's Gambit where he criticizes it. But he's also a fictional character, you know. You know, in Harry Potter they say Wingardium Leviosa and things float, but that doesn't mean that. Am I better at openings than some GMs? Potentially, yeah. Because I've just done so much openings work, plus the use of an engine and all these kinds of before the games, not during, or during sometimes. Okay, so the big question is, do I want this trade? And I don't. I'm going to tell you, I don't want to help his center. I actually don't want to help my opponent in the center. The problem is that this is under attack, which is kind of funny. Let's go knight c5. Let's block the, So if this trade happens, I'm not helping them in the center. If this trade happens, I am helping them in the center. However, that pawn will be a weakness. Why? It has nothing behind it. If a pawn is just standing and doesn't have defense, see mine has defense with a pawn, that pawn could be an endgame target. Okay, so this is the first official transformation of the position. He has traded a bishop for my knight. So now we have knight and bishop versus two knights. b4? b4 is a good move. He didn't play b4, but b4 was a good move. If b4, I would have flanked out to a4, hitting the c3 pawn. That's what I would have done. And then my knight would have camped on the queen side on his weak pawn structure. It goes knight b3. Again, I don't really want to. I'd really rather not trade right now, but I think he's pushing hard for a trade here. I guess I can also play b6 and trade like this and open the b file. So. Now I'm not going to castle, I think. I think I'm going to bring my king out, which is what you should do in endgames, like king d7 or king e7. I have to anticipate that this is his next move, right? I can also consider a5 and a4, attacking his knight and fixing the structure here. I like that plan a lot, a5. Sometimes knights on b3 and on g3, these four squares that I'm going to highlight, can be targeted with flank pawn pushes. a5, a4, for example. If this is here, h5, h4. And what that does is it hits the knight, and then ultimately it can damage or attack the structure as well. If a4, that pawn is now a weakness, and the move rook c4 immediately targets it. So he plays knight d4, which was another part of his plan, to open up the c-file. But the issue with what he's doing is that when I take, okay, he can play cd4 and fix his pawn structure, gluing the pawns together. But it's not good, sadly. It's actually just bad. Believe it or not. Knight takes d4, I think, is slightly better. I hope he's not. I mean, again, I'm talking out loud, so you can easily stream snipe. Why you keep playing this same dude? I'm not. Are you okay? He has a lot of pressure, but I move my king. Do not take. Keep the tension with the rooks. If they take you, you take them, and you take the file. If I take, they take the file. This is why this is bad. His knight is forever stuck to the defense of this pawn. Forever. 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 Now I play h6. Why? I don't want him to go to knight. I don't want him to go here. Forever. Why castle? Why not castle? It's the end game. I don't want a castle. My king is better because better placed in the center because I want to go to the queen side. Now he's trying to bring his king. This is the final moment of the game for me to do something. And I think what I'm going to do is play the move. I don't know. I'm going to think. Rook c6 or rook c4. One of these two moves. Also g5, g4 is interesting. Okay, I'm going to play g5. I will play g5. I do like this. I like the idea. Plays h3. That makes a lot of sense. Now, h5 would deflect the knight, and ultimately I would win this. But what about this? This. Whoops. This. Take. And then c5. Sometimes, when you have rooks facing each other on the same file, you can make moves like this. That's a good move. It's a nice move. You can make moves like this because you want them to take you, and you want to activate one of your pieces through that trade, okay? So I can take him and immediately go for that, right? Like, I can take. But the problem is the d4 pawn gets another defender if I do this. Do I like that? I'm going to go rook c8. I want him to take me. He's going to play rook here. That's what's going to happen. At least that's what he should play. Because if he plays rook b3, he just gives me control of the c file. Which is not... I mean, control of a full file with two rooks in an endgame is worth a lot. It's worth a lot, controlling a full file like this. So, increasing the pressure on his rook. Now, of course, rook c1 is just a very direct fight for this side of the board. He wants this. If the king finds enough time, 2 full turns, to make it to the d3 square, he stabilizes his position. And then it becomes a lot harder to try to play for a win. Wow! Takes? Really? I don't like that at all. Okay, first of all, I can go here and push. I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. No. I mean, he sees this and then rook c2, rook d2. So he sees that yeah, obviously. But, I'm so bad at chess. I'm so bad at chess. I forgot that on rook c1 he has rook d1. Humph. Okay. Okay. All right, this is going to take a little bit longer than I would have liked. Here, take, active king. King c2. King b5. We're going to get this down to an endgame? Man. Man, oh man, oh man. Oh man, oh man, oh man. He is defending really well. And I want time to bring in my king. Rook c4, king d3. How do we find a way forward? And we're now lower on the clock. Okay, let's go rook c1. We'll trade, and now we're going to bring our king. Active king is important. And should have went here first. I'm going insane. Of course I should play this move. What am I doing? Yes, because now he just plays this, of course. It's just a4, so much better than playing king c6. a4 and then king c6, king b5. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, time to flip the game to the other side of the board, ladies and gentlemen. I have to defend this pawn and start some sort of advancement. Wow. a4, the clutchest move of all time by my opponent. And g4. Oh, he just cannot be stopped. He is rattling off these moves like it ain't nothing. All right, we're going to go plant the bishop on b4 and maintain pressure on this diagonal, and we're going to have to walk the king back. Can he get in on that side? I don't see it. So the king is going to go to this side of the board, and then we are going to try to break with f6 and bishop to c7. There is only one way that we are going to win this game, and it is going to be to play fast. In 10-minute games, you get down to the d-pawns. D-pawns. You get down to the end game. I don't know why did I say d-pawns? We've each got a piece and pawns. Time is important. The clock is a weapon. We both just had equal time. Now we are only up 30 seconds, but it is ticking more and more. Clock is a piece. I did tell you in this game we were going to learn how to win a completely equal position, right? Well, hopefully I deliver on this promise. Play b6, controlling the knight, which is obviously coming to this square. Okay? Obviously. So when his knight gets here, it can't have any entrance points. Why is he thinking so much, mister? Wasn't knight d3 your plan? Oh! Oh, this is such a big decision. Is bishop to b4 winning for me? Sometimes in these positions, you can make transformations that win the game. Oh, take f6. Oh my. f6, take, king e8, king e2, king f7, king e3, king f6, f4, take. No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's winning. I don't think I can do it. It does not. I don't think so. I don't think so. Don't think that's going to do it. All right, bishop f8. No, if I played f6, then there was no way. There was no way for me to get any sort of winning position there. Play here. Now I'll play f6. Creating a break here. Have to do it. I was up 30 seconds. Now we're both down to the 90-second mark. He plays f4. It's a great move. Again, in tune with all the other great moves that he's played. I'm just moving my king. I'm not taking. I'll let him take me before I take him. Okay, now he's behind on time. What if he just shuffles mindlessly? What am I gonna do? He doesn't shuffle mindlessly. I like this transformation for me, because now I have 2-on-1 in the center. Now e5, and I think I'm winning. Take here, knight f3 here, knight d4, take. So knight f3, king f4, knight d4, take, king g3, king d5, king h3, king c6, king g4, king b6, king f5, king a5. Okay, none of that is happening. None of that is happening. d4. King d5 to go king c4. King c4. Oh my god. This is crazy. Oh, he went passive. King e4 was scary, but I was going back. I don't know. I think this guy is very strong. This guy is very strong. King goes back to b3. King f5, slide out of the way. Or I'm a walrus. King c2. Okay, I think I just have a4 now. And if he goes for this pawn, I have king c2. Oh my goodness, we're gonna win this game. But wow. Now, one important thing I just want to point out. If I had played a4 here, well, yeah, it's hard for the engine to even conceptualize this, but yeah, it says that this is just equal. So that's the danger, I suppose, of trading pieces so early in the game. Now here, it's still equal, by the way. I mean, this was a mistake. What could I have done better here? What did I do wrong? Oh. The engine likes to solve this tactically. The engine likes to do things tactically. The engine in this position really likes the solution take, and h5. Sacrificing the pawn on g5 to get this. And if they don't take here and they play g4, then this loses to take, and rook to h1. And if knight g1, it's this. So the computer, 96.6? Who played 96.6? What were both of our caps? That was just a good game. But you know, it's not difficult to play a game like that when all the pieces get traded. Like, it's not difficult. I mean, for example, bishop e3 was bad, you know? So it's not so so easy. It's not so difficult to get 97% score when there's no pieces on the board. But yeah, the engine likes to solve this tactically. It likes me playing for this. And what did I do wrong is the question. Where did this get bad? Rook c2. It got bad on rook c2. So, wow, I basically had one moment. I had one moment I could have played for this plan with take, and h5. This was the only moment I could have tried to go for something. And even here, I mean, it's difficult. I had one move. And then after that, he was just really solid. And the engine does not want the rook trade. It does not want the rook trade. It thinks that what I did was not smart. Now, what if I had taken? No, it likes this for white, because if again, like I said, if it likes this for white, because he uses the open file. Yeah, and, you know, you can get actually a bad position. You know, you can play too defensively, and now white is playing for a win, because white consolidated everything. Yeah. You only get one chance to blow, because opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo. Don't copyright strike me. Guys, we're going to sign off from YouTube now, because we're going to do the sub battle. Say bye to YouTube. YouTube, hope you enjoyed this episode of How to Win at Chess. A lot of intense games today. Hopefully this was instructive. And I will see you in episode 4.